You're listening to Brandon Sports Talk, interviewing professional athletes and Paralympians and Olympians. And now for your professional athlete interview and your host, Brandon P. Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege of interviewing the Connecticut College assistant water polo coach, Kate Tijerina. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Excited to be here. How are you?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you want to get started in coaching in college women's water polo?
Yeah, so a little backstory. I started playing when I was 8 in Southern California. Played for about like 21 years. Um, COVID hit and then I came home because I was abroad playing. Got into coaching at my old high school, and then I started coaching club with my old club coach, Gabriel Martinez, and that experience kind of it made me want to coach more and get further into like the coaching world and experience what it would be like as a college coach. So with that, I just decided to start applying for openings as an assistant. And I saw a con was open, so I applied. I talked to Matt, who's a great mentor, and now I'm here.
What was that experience like playing collegiate water polo and going to college and playing water polo?
It was everything I wanted. I think, especially playing at a smaller D1 school, it was the community that I wanted, and the the experience was nothing like it was so much more and rewarding to me than I ever could have imagined. I think being able to play at that level was amazing, and I'm very fortunate to have done that. So, yeah, I all good things come from it. Even when we don't win games or there's injuries that we have to deal with, I think it's an experience for future athletes. If that's what they want, strongly suggest they go for it.
For you as a collegiate athlete, what was that experience putting on that water polo cap and representing your college?
Um, it's kind of nothing like I ever would have imagined. I think it's a great experience to be able to represent a school in that way. Um, Showing how we can be student athletes and how our athletic abilities can really help put a spotlight on the school. I think, especially as a former student athlete, it's a lot of time management and understanding you're not just there to further your career, you're there to be kind of like a spokesperson for the school. So it's a great experience like in learning leadership and understanding how to be on a team, even though it may seem like you're just on a small team, you're really part of the school and being on that school team and being someone who helps raise that level of I don't know how to say it, but like showing how you can be there for the people who have kind of like given to you. So it's a way to give back to that community.
For you, what was that experience like getting to compete professionally in water polo?
It was insane. Growing up, I always knew I wanted to do that. It was one of my goals, like ever since I started, was to be a professional athlete. So just being there felt surreal because like, you dream about it your whole life, but then when it actually happens, you're like, okay, I did it. So, and it's a very humbling and amazing experience. I think it also adds to that level of like as a coach, it helped me understand that there's different levels that you have to deal with, and there's different ways to reach each level, and it's an amazing experience. I loved it.
How was that transition like for you going from being a professional athlete to getting into coaching?
Um, it definitely was different. I think being in the water and then being on deck, it's there's so many different things kind of that you have to deal with. Like being in the water, you just have to deal with playing, knowing what you need to do. And then on the other side of it, like as a coach, like I have to make sure that these kids know what they're doing, and I like there's trust on both ends. And so now being in the position of being on deck and not in the water, it's hard to not get like super passionate because it's like you want the kids to do so well, but you can't do it for them. They have to be able to do it on their own. So it comes with a lot of patience, and I'm learning so much about myself as well as learning so much about the kids that I'm coaching.
What was that experience like for you getting to coach on the club level of Mid Valley?
It was great. I think being a club athlete as well, it helped me know like I was in a familiar position where going to different tournaments like John Hale, any local Southern California tournaments, or like going to JOs and quals. Um, I think having the experience I did, it helped create that trust in myself that I know what to expect and I know what I'm doing. So that way, when the kids got nervous or if they didn't know what to expect, I could kind of walk them through that. So that was really helpful for them. And they were able to really enjoy and just have fun while they were at the tournaments.
What was that experience like for you getting to be the head coach for Mid Valley water polo?
I think being the head coach for the 16 and unders and 14 unders was great. I learned so much about having like patience again, and giving myself kind of that space to let the kids grow and make the mistakes rather than being on top of them and telling them like this game is so it's a little unpredictable in the way that you have to really let the kids go out and do it on their own before you can really rein them in. It helps pushing them to just do what they need to do. And then if there's anything that could be done better, that's where I come in. Um, so being able to coach at the younger levels really helps because these kids are like kind of coming in fresh. So it makes it easier to just let them go out, play, and then build the fundamentals as needed.
For you, what was that transition like going from being a club coach to coming on to the college level of coaching?
I It's definitely been like a transition. I think not having to be on the pool deck year round, almost like 3, 4 days a week is is definitely different for me. But I also love it because now, like as much as I love the experience of just being on deck and coaching as much as I could, I also love the fact that now I'm with a kind of like a set of kids and I get to really help them, you know, grow where they need to grow and then also be kind of like a mentor in the way that I'm making sure that they're getting the classes that they need to get. being on top of them when it comes to like injuries or something, telling them to go to the trainer. Um, and then especially since it's at the college level and a majority of our kids are away from home, kind of just being that like person that's always there for them.
What was that experience like for you coming over to Connecticut College and becoming the next assistant coach?
Um, Honestly, it was very surreal. I like it didn't really hit me until we started our women's season. Um, I think, and so many people have told me like it's what I did was very, very brave in just picking up and moving across the country. And I honestly never thought of that because I left for college. Like I went out to Poughkeepsie, went there for 4 years, and then I went to Europe and played. So picking up and moving and doing something that I feel passionate about it's not daunting or scary to me in any way. It's like the nervousness that comes with it is just making sure I'm on top of what I need to be doing. But I I am so excited and grateful for this opportunity.
What is that like bringing over your professional background and playing water polo?
I think, like personally, for me, it helps me know that I have the experience and I have kind of a wide variety of tools and skills that I could give the kids because I was coached by a number of coaches. I have I've learned and I've watched them coach in different styles, so that helps me in a way that depending on the kid that I have, I do have different styles of coaching that I could kind of lean on. Um, I think for the kids, especially, it helps because if that's something that they're interested in, then I can help them get to that next level, whether it's through old teammates or other coaches that I know. Um, but yeah, I think especially playing at that level, like I've kind of seen everything. So then when it comes to my kids and they're like frustrated about something that they can't do or they're wanting to learn like how to make themselves better, I have the skill set that and I have the tools that can help them reach that.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you started to help to build for the Connecticut College water polo program?
Yeah, I think Matt's done a really good job of building like the team culture here. Again, he's been here for like 10 years, almost 11 now. So honestly, what I'm trying to do is just reinforce what he's been doing, which is having that camaraderie between the team and the, I mean, really, you would have to ask the athletes, but I really can see the sense of the friendship and the discipline that they have and the trust that they have in each other to have the same kind of discipline and understanding what the team goals are and understanding that it's not just them, it's they're there for each other. So that's all I'm doing is really reinforcing what Matt has done.
What does a typical water meet look like for you as a coach versus for your athletes?
I think, and honestly, it really depends on the team we're playing. And if it's a home meet or an away meet, but I I always go into it a little like I have trouble sleeping the night before because I'm excited but also a little nervous. But I'll make sure we have our caps, make sure we have our swim caps, check in with the girls if needed, um, make sure we have a stat sheet so that way I'm taking stats during the game, making sure Matt has his expo marker and whiteboard, um, but really kind of focusing on the little details so that way Matt can just focus on the game ahead.
Who are some of the teams in your conference that you compete against?
Yeah, so for our women's side, we play against Wheaton, Grove City, Carthage, Austin, Penn State, Barrett, um, McAllister, uh, Augustana, like those teams for our men's team. So this upcoming year, we're moving into the MPSF conference. So we'll be playing a lot more D3 teams compared to this last season. They played D3 teams in those con in D3 um tournaments, but for their conference they played like Brown, Harvard, D1 teams, which wasn't it was a good experience to understand what is needed to be at that D1 level, but um as a D3 school, we need to make sure that we're playing like D3 teams in our conference. So I think the fact that we're moving to the MPSF conference is really going to help our men's team build their confidence in the way that they play. And I do expect that we'll do well in that conference.
What is that home game atmosphere like when teams like McKendree comes to home versus going away?
I think um the athletes have done a really good job, and even the school, um, of building a camaraderie between each other. And so like the our athletes, they'll have their friends. Maybe we'll have other coaches come watch our game, but the atmosphere is pretty good. We do get a good amount of fans who come cheer us on. Um, like this past year, our only home games were against Iona, but we still had a bunch of people cheering for us during those games. So that's always really comforting to know that if we do have a home game, we'll have people in the stands cheering us on.
What does that recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes? And as a coach, what do you look at in them?
I think especially at a school like this and we're D3, so we don't give any athletic scholarship. We're really making sure uh, the athletes that want to come here, they get into the school. So our first question ever to every athlete is, what are your grades? Because if you can't get into con, then the benefit of also playing water polo isn't that's not going to be there for you, because you need to make sure like our students, they have really good grades and they need to make sure they can keep those up for the 4 years that they're here. Um, and so we always tell the kids, you can be interested in playing water polo here, but yeah, like the only thing that really is important to us is if you can get into the school and you can keep up your grades. Um, we always tell uh, prospective athletes who come on trips, if you can get into school, you can keep up your grades, and you love the atmosphere that the on the academic side, then the plus of being able to play water polo is you're just going to thrive here. So we really focus on them being student athletes first.
As a coach, what is it like seeing those freshmen putting on that water polo cap for the first time and your seniors putting it on for the last time?
It's really exciting. I think for the freshmen, it's always exciting. They're always a little nervous because, this is the next level, and they have that a little bit of doubt of whether or not they can do it, but I always remind them you wouldn't be here if you couldn't. Um, so seeing them put on the cap and then playing like they know how to play, it's a really great feeling. For our senior, this year we only had one. It was bittersweet seeing that because she may not have been our biggest player, but she was a really good leader and presence in the water and out of the water. So it's going to be really, it's sad to see her leave, but it's also exciting to see all the things that she's going to do in her career.
As a coach and former professional athlete, what is it like seeing your players going on and competing professionally in water polo?
I haven't seen that yet, so I think when that does happen, I'll be super excited. And I'll know that they can do it because if that's something that they're interested in, then I know that they have the confidence in themselves. And really, that's half the battle, um, of knowing whether or not you're going to go to that next level. Because having the work ethic and having the talent, that's kind of easy. It's having that mental strength to be able to know that you can do it and you'll push through whenever you need to.
Of course, what are some of your future plans and goals for the program, and what have been some things you've been able to accomplish so far?
I think future goals would definitely be being a top ranked uh D3 team. But everyone always says that. So really is just making sure the team energy and environment is good. Making sure the players all get along. They might not get along all the time, but making sure that at the end of the day, they know that they're there for each other. Um, and then seeing the kids graduate and go on with their lives, whether that be having a career in water polo after or, you know, being the next Einstein, because we do have some really like smart kids on this team. Um, so all of they're gonna do amazing in anything that they do and just making sure they know they have the support to follow their dreams.
What advice would you give those incoming freshmen entering their first year of college water polo?
I would say make sure they are good about managing their time. There is, especially at the D3 level, and being a NESCAC school, their off season really is an off season. Um, so making sure they're managing all the time that they have now, because going from high school and then to college, you don't have as many classes in the day. You might have like one class a day, or you might have two classes. It goes up to like maybe four. So kids being able to adjust to having a lot more time on their hands, it's really going to be imperative that they make sure they're on top of their schoolwork. If it's workouts during the off season, making sure they're getting those in. Um, any internships, taking those when they can, and then studying abroad if that's something that they're interested in.
What advice would you give those water polo athletes that have aspirations of playing professional water polo like you have?
I would say whatever work they're doing now, double it because the more work you put in now, the easier it's going to be when you get to that next level. Um, you may think you're working to the best of your ability, you can work more. Um, the person who always puts in that extra effort and goes the extra mile, they really do see more of a benefit. And having the mentality of putting in the work now rather than later, it's going to benefit people, especially those who are looking to go to that next level. Um, it also helps with injuries. So the more work, the more PT you do now, later down the line, it's going to benefit you.
What advice do you give those coaches out there looking to get started in coaching on the college level?
I as someone who's like just started, I would say just get into coaching high school and club. Um, Definitely club because I feel like that's where you can meet more college coaches in the sense that you'll see them at JOs or you'll see them at really big summer tournaments. Um, and then you can start making connections with them, start talking to them there to see really what would help you get to that next level as well.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the program app?
Um, Sorry, can you repeat that?
Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the water polo program?
Okay. They can follow along on Instagram and Twitter at Con uh College Water Polo. So CONN. Um, and then actually let me check to see. So CONNCOLL Water Polo. And that's our handle for our Instagram and Twitter.
Thank you again, Coach Kate, for your interview and best luck in your future at Connecticut College as the assistant water polo coach.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Coach Kate, for your interview and best luck in your future.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.